Welcome to Ascension of the Chessmen, diving into the esoteric, occult, spiritual, and conspiratorial aspects of life, focused on solutions to the problems we face in our everyday lives. Let us ascend above all differences. Let us be the light in darkness, a breath of fresh air to those who can hardly breathe, and together awaken into greatness. This is Ascension of the Chessmen with your host, Andre Mitty.
Welcome to the Ascension of the Chessmen podcast. I'm your host, Andre Mitty. Today's guest is the astrotheology researcher and author of a series of books called Into the Rabbit Hole, Seated with Truth Labeled Fiction. Ladies and gentlemen, hobbits and fairies, give a warm welcome back to Micah Dank. So happy to have you, brother.
Thank you for having me. How long ago did I do my intro to astrotheology video with you?
Oh, man, that was like 2 years ago, probably.
You're going to have to probably like reshare that or show people where they could find that.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense if they watch the first part too.
I'll put the links in the description of the episode for sure. So
Right.
for those unfamiliar with you and your backstory, I'll have those linked in the episode description for sure.
Cool, man. So are you sharing right now?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's just get started then. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay. So before I even start explaining this to you, I have to explain to you what the point of it is, because that's obviously going to be you guys' first question as soon as I start going and rolling through this. So what is the point of all this? We take for granted we have calendars, clocks, watches, weathermen. The ancients didn't have any of that. They had sundials. In the Bible, they worked on dream interpretation for harvest. They had to know things. They needed to know that Taurus was when you put the plow on the bull and plant. As above, so below. I'll get into that. The Bible is an encoded farmer's almanac and was the knowledge of staying alive, the most important thing. They would look at the stars and see all this movement and make up stories about them and then eventually pass them down to their children, then them to their children. Eventually they learned how to write and they wrote them down, and it evolved from Sumerian to Babylonian to Egyptian to Judaism in the Old Testament, then to Christians in the New Testament, and even the Quran. And I like to say this quote too. My point, once again, is not that those ancient people told literal stories, and we are now smart enough to take them symbolically, but that they told them symbolically, and we are now dumb enough to take them literally. And that's just the best quote for this, because that's what this is. So this is the first time I think in human history this has ever been put together. I have in my intro to astrotheology video, which Andre is going to put up for you guys to watch. I go through the entire Bible, and I show you the astrotheology in it. But this, I've researched and I've done everything from the Sumerians all the way to the Book of Mormon. And I'm going to show you how every ancient holy text is an encoded astrotheology book. But for this to make sense, I have to explain the 12 signs to you. So I'm going to start with Aquarius. The first sign which I talk about is Aquarius, which is represented by the man with the water pitcher. Now, technically, Aries begins the year. More specifically, March 21st, the spring equinox, which we'll get into in two signs. Goes back to the story of Zeus and the young boy. So Aquarius, the story of Aquarius, is a Greek story. And Zeus and the young boy, so Zeus saw a 14-year-old blonde boy on earth that he thought was beautiful. And he wanted him in heaven with him, but the boy's father wouldn't let him go. Zeus ends up bargaining with the father, gives him a whole bunch of stuff, and he lets the boy go up to heaven. While the boy's in heaven, in this water pitcher that you see in this picture, he's feeding the gods something called ambrosia, which was the nectar of the gods. And he's doing this day in and day out. One day he gets fed up with doing it. He goes to the side of heaven and pours it out, just like in this picture. And the ambrosia flooding out, pouring it down from heaven to earth, is where the Greeks get their flood story from. Now Zeus, who's usually a very sexual, a very deviant, a very angry god, he was going to punish him for what he had done. But in a moment of self-reflection, which is very uncommon for Zeus, what he does is instead of punishing him, he realizes that he shouldn't have brought the boy up and this, that, and the other thing. And what he does is instead of punishing him, he immortalizes him instead as the constellation Aquarius. And that is the story behind it. So there are some key words that you'll find that have to do with Aquarius. The son of man and man, because Aquarius is the sign of the man, whereas Virgo is the sign of the woman. Baptism, because this is how you baptize someone, literally.
Right.
Water pitcher, this is a water pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Fountain, because a lot of Greek fountains were built like this. Stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea, these are water bodies. Now, Aquarius, if you understand astrology, is an air sign. However,
right,
because there's water in the picture, they used it to encode into these holy texts water meanings. Whereas Pisces, which is the next sign, is the two fish in the water. Pisces is actually a mutable water sign. So stream, river, pond, lake, sea, ocean, for example, two fish or Leviathan, that would be Pisces. You also have Dagon. You also have Mithra. These would be fish gods, and that has to do with the age of Pisces. Now, Aries is the ram, and in Aries you have March 21st, which is it's a 12-hour day and a 12-hour night. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator and back on its way to its height at the summer solstice. That's the first Passover. The second Passover is the Jewish Passover. That's when the angel of death passes over all the houses in Egypt, and any family that doesn't have the lamb's blood, again, a lamb is a baby ram, anyone that doesn't have the lamb's blood smeared on their doorposts, their firstborn sons get killed. Why? Because the Jews are the people of the age of Aries. Now, in Christianity, the passing over is changed, and it's called the resurrection of God's Son. So there's words here: ram, lamb, shepherd, or ram's horn. That's Aries. The reason the Jews blow the ram's horn in the high holidays in temple is because they are the people of Aries, and it's Aries worship. Now, I mentioned Taurus, the bull, earlier. Taurus is the bull. And when you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seeds so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So keywords: bull, ox, calf, which is a baby bull, or cow, which is a female bull, is Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. This is another Greek story. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, you're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab, and it's the sideways moving creature. So what the sun does is on December 25th, it's going to rise a degree on its axis. On December 26th, an additional degree. On the 27th, additional degree. The sun is getting higher now. The days are getting longer. The nights are getting shorter. It's being celebrated. When the sun hits June 21st, that's the first day in Cancer. That is the summer solstice. What the sun does on June 22nd is it doesn't rise an additional degree. It doesn't lower an additional degree. But for 3 consecutive days, it's going to stay at that exact same height. Hence the metaphor of the crab, which moves sideways. That's how the crab walks. It walks to the side. Whereas we don't do that. We don't do that unless it's a sports drill. We walk front to back. We walk diagonal. We don't shuffle side to side unless we're doing suicides or whatever.
Right.
But then on June 25th, it's going to drop a degree. June 26th, an additional degree. Now the nights are getting longer and the day is getting shorter. When it hits December 21st, that is when the sun stops moving. It is at the lowest point. It is the winter solstice. It's the longest night of the year. The ancients would go out into outside, and they would look at the sky, and they would see that the sun didn't crack the horizon. So they used to say that God's son was dead. And then it walked sideways for 3 days, Andre. So now God's son was dead for 3 days. Whereas on December 25th, it comes back to life. It is born again. The light of the world, the only begotten son, is born again. Now, a lot of Christians are going to tell me that Zeitgeist has been debunked. They're going to tell me that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. that he was born during the Feast of the Tabernacles on September 11th, possibly during Passover. I don't care about any of that. That has nothing to do with it. This is the science behind that.
Literally.
Okay? This is the science behind that, literally, exactly.
Predated
I know all the
it.
arguments. I know all the arguments that the Christians are going to throw at me.
Right.
Zeitgeist did not go far enough. And my research shows that. So Leo is the king. He's the lion. He's the king of the jungle, or the king of the savannah, whatever you want to call it. Now, the ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So the sun is in its home during July and August. So whenever you hear lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo. Then Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk, as you can see in this picture. Remember when I said that you plant in Taurus?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens is the virgins would go out and cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So whenever you hear virgin, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn, feel free to look this up, guys. All this stuff is harvested in Virgo in the northern hemisphere during this time period. Now, Libra is the justice. It's the scales. It's the balance. It's the just one. The reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. Right? So remember, in the spring equinox, it's being celebrated because it's going back home. It's getting lighter. It's getting warmer. Everything's growing. Everything is beautiful. Here, it's being punished. It's being judged because it's going back down into the underworld. Now, the interesting thing, too, is that the Jewish New Year is always in Virgo. Okay? This year, it was September 15th. Now, 8 days after the Jewish New Year, and it's always 8 days every single year, that brings you to September 23rd. That is the first day of Libra. The winter solstice is December 21st. The spring equinox is March 21st. The summer solstice is June 21st. And the fall equinox is September 23rd, not the 21st. Now, here's the interesting thing, too. The first day of Libra is 8 days after the Jewish New Year, is a day called Yom Kippur. That was the first day of Libra this year, September 23rd. What is Yom Kippur? Well, it's the Jewish day of judgment. Well, of course, the day of judgment has to happen during Libra, the judge, the scales, the balance. Right. Now, of course it does. Now, Libra is also wine season, which is when you plant for the grapes in Taurus, you could press the wine here. Ask any Italian. In fact, a lot of you women that are listening, when you go to bachelorette parties or you just go out with your girls to the vineyards, a lot of women like to go during the spring when it's warmer. They like to, get their drink on and go there. But that's stupid, because when you go there, you'll find that all the vineyards are empty, right? Because it's the beginning of the growing year. What you want to do, guys, is you want to go to a vineyard during Libra. That's September, October, because everything is lush. You can literally walk up and down the vines and pick the grapes and eat them. Right. Ready for literally harvest. That's when you go. Yep. Right. Now, Libra is also olive oil season. This is when you crack the olives and you make the oil with it. So in Libra, you have all law-related things: law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court, wine, vineyard, wine press, olive oil or olive oil. Incidentally, the three wise men bring frankincense, myrrh, and gold to see Jesus. Well, guess what? Frankincense and myrrh are both olive plants. So that goes into a little bit of decoding later on when I show you how this works. Right. Now, Scorpio is the scorpion, and he is known as the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips, or when it stings you, I should say. And that's where the mafia gets the kiss of death. And it's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. Because what happens is this thing would sting you, you'd knock it off, it would be a pair of lips, but there's poison in the lips. Right? So that's where the metaphor comes in. So the sun, remember, it's judged in Libra, it's betrayed in Scorpio, and then you've got Sagittarius. This is the man on the horse with the bow and the arrow. He's shooting the arrow at the sun to inflict further punishment on the sun, killing the sun. This is where the sun dies. Why? Because on December 21st, the sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. I went over this with you guys a minute ago. So whenever you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, or horseman, you're talking about Sagittarius. Finally, you have Capricorn, who's the goat. Now, you can see the zodiac wheel that I put up here, guys. Cancer's at the top because at the very, very, very top, that is the summer solstice. And at the bottom, it is the winter solstice. It actually needs to be tilted just a couple degrees more. However, this is fine enough.
Right.
So basically, Capricorn's at the bottom. That's December 25th. That's the first day of Capricorn. No, I lied. I'm sorry. That's the third day of Capricorn. December 21st is the last day of Sagittarius. So for 3 days, it remains dead. Now, what happens in Capricorn is it's a goat. Because if you look at the zodiac wheel and you put a sun at the bottom of the wheel, showing that it's the dead of winter, and you start marching it to the left, going a degree a day as it climbs the zodiac wheel, it climbs up the metaphorical mountain, just like the mountain goats climb the mountain. So those are the 12 signs.
Perfect.
I'm not expecting you to remember all these key words, but I do want you guys, when I talk about this coming up, for you to be like, I remember him saying that. That's all I need.
Dude,
and then you guys could study this at your own time.
I had a quick question before we get too far in. I wanted to get your thoughts on the theory of, the whole Bible being two bulls, like the title of the Christian holy book. Do you believe that's Aries and Taurus in reference there? Or do you not subscribe to that at all?
I think that's a homonym, kind of like sun. A lot of Christians will tell you that Jesus isn't the sun, S-U-N, it's the S-O-N.
Right.
These words, the fact that they're homonyms, have nothing to do with themselves. This is a metaphorical telling of the sun going through these 12 signs. Right. That's what all these ancient stories are. So that's just another homonym that's just meant to distract you.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now, ready?
Yeah.
In Aries, ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn, triangle is constellation Triangulum, Draco, the dragon. So in each one of these signs, there are additional constellations that Ptolemy listed in 150 AD. Okay, he listed 48 constellations. That is what I use to break down these decodings. So I'm just going to go over a few with you. Bull, calf, ox, cow, that's Taurus. Queen, that's Cassiopeia, the seated woman. Andromeda, that's the chained woman. Belt, that's Orion's belt. Gemini, twins, brothers, little bear, that's Ursa Minor. Charioteer, chariot, Auriga. Hunter, Orion. Rabbit, Lepus, Gemini. Deer, Mariga, that's the constellation Mariga. Camel, leopard, is Camelopardalis. They used to call the giraffe Camelopardalis back in the day because they would look at this thing and they would say it's a camel leopard. Look at this weird looking thing. It's got spots everywhere. It's built funny. That's what they would basically do. So Cancer, crab, scarab, great bear, little bear, that's Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. The bees, there is an asterism. There's a group of stars in Cancer called the Beehive Cluster. So that's where the honey comes from. You have dog, which is Canis Major, Canis Minor. Donkey, which is Acellus Borealis. You also have something called the ship, which is Argo. Leo, that's lion, lioness, cub. Water snake, serpent, so Hydra's in Leo. The little bear and the great bear. Ship, Argo. A lot of these constellations span a few signs. Ship being a big one, actually. Virgin, woman, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn. Great bear, water snake, sea serpent, Hydra. Raven is the constellation Corvus. Cup is the constellation Crater. Ship, Argo. Libra, law, judge, justice, the just one. Divorce, marriage, court. Wine, vineyard, wine press. Olive oil, water snake, serpent, Hydra. Cup, crater. Wolf, lupus. Ship, Argo. Lupus, the wolf lupus is actually, it borders Libra. It's very close to Libra, so it counts as Libra. Scorpio, scorpion, betrayer, betrayal, crown, Corona Borealis, the northern crown, water snake, serpent, Hydra, Wolf, Lupus, Ship, Argo. Wolf, Lupus, Altar, Ara. Crown, Corona, Australis, Southern Crown. Draco, Dragon. Milk, Milky Way Galaxy. Capricorn, Goat, Kid, Vulture, Eagle, that's Lyra. Eagle is Aquila. Aquarius, Son of Man, Man, Baptism, Water Pitcher, Water Jar, Fountain, Stream, River, Pond, Lake, Ocean, Sea. Dragon, Draco, Vulture, Eagle, Lyra, Eagle, Aquila, Swan, Cygnus, Sea Monster, also the whale, is Cetus. So when you're talking about Jonah in the whale, Jonah is the man, that's the sign of Aquarius. And they're talking about his adventure in the whale, Cetus. Pisces, stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea. Fish, Leviathan, Dagon, Mithra. Two fish, for example. Jesus feeds the masses with two fish. Dragon, Draco. Swan, Cygnus. Sea monster, whale. And those are the 12 signs. These are not always all used, but I wanted to show them to you. So let's start right away with the Epic of Gilgamesh. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one example of astrotheology from every ancient holy text that you could think of.
Let's do it.
Just to show you that it's there. And then if you wanted to, you can go to my YouTube and find the actual full-length videos where I break down the entire books. So this is the Epic of Gilgamesh. May the bear mourn you, the hyena, the panther, the leopard, deer, jackal, lion, wild bull, gazelle. May the rivers Ulaya and Euphrates mourn you, whose sacred waters we offered to the gods. May the young men of the great walled Uruk mourn you, who cheered when we slaughtered the bull of heaven. What's the bull of heaven?
Horse.
That's Taurus, exactly. May the farmer mourn you, who praised you to the skies in his harvest song. May the shepherd mourn you, who brought you milk. May the brewer mourn you, who made you fine beer. May Ishtar's priestess mourn you, who massaged you with sweet-smelling oil. May the wedding guests mourn you like their own brother. The bear is Ursa Major, the great bear. That's Gemini and Cancer. The hyena is Eltanin, the hyena, and it's 3 knots on Draco's tail. That's Aries to Sagittarius. The panther is Elanthropedia. The panther made up of 26 stars. The leopard is half of Camelo Pardalis. The leopard is Pardalis. It is in Gemini. The Mriga, or the deer, is located in Orion, which is between Taurus and Gemini. Lion is Leo. The wild bull is Taurus. The rivers are Pisces. The water sign that signifies the water, the bull of heaven, is Taurus. The shepherd is Aries, as previously mentioned. The milk comes from the Milky Way galaxy, whose center is in Sagittarius. So when you're talking about the land of milk and honey, the first day of Cancer is the summer solstice. That's where the beehive cluster is. That's the honey.
Right.
The last day of Sagittarius is the winter solstice. That is the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. That's the milk. So your land of milk and honey is from the beginning of summer till the beginning of winter. It's not a place on Earth.
Right.
This is star poetry.
Right.
Okay. So the brewer and the fine beer is from barley, which is harvested in Virgo. Ishtar's priestess is Virgo, the woman. The sweet-smelling oil is the oil from Libra. The mourning of their own brother is Gemini, the brothers. So now we have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Sagittarius. That's 4 of the 4 major points on the zodiac. In the zodiac wheel, if you were to plot these 4 points, it makes a cross through it. That's the cross of God's son. Remember, God's son has to carry his own cross to his death. You have in the Aries, spring equinox, Cancer, summer solstice, Libra, fall equinox, Sagittarius, winter solstice. So now, in that one passage that I read you guys just before, you have Gemini, Cancer, Aries to Sagittarius. That's Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, and Sagittarius. Taurus, Leo, Pisces, Virgo. The only 2 signs that it's missing are Scorpio and Capricorn. There's 10 out of 12 zodiac signs in this one passage that I've read.
Wow.
So that's the Epic of Gilgamesh. We have astrotheology and Enki in the world of order. This is another Sumerian tablet. Father Enki engendered by a bull, begotten by a wild bull. Great dragon who stands in Eridug, a grove of vines extending over the land, where stags are born, where wild goats are born in meadows. You close up the days and make the months enter their houses.
Wow.
The bull is Taurus,
That's so
the
obvious.
dragon, the bull is Taurus, the dragon and its tail goes from Aries to Sagittarius. The stag is the deer, which is Mariga, which is in Orion, which is between Taurus and Gemini, and the goats are Capricorn. We have Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius. When they're talking about the months entering their houses, each zodiac sign is called a house or an age or an eon or an era. There's names for these things. They speak of the months being locked into their zodiac houses. But this one little passage that I read you right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences, 7 zodiac signs, and they're all in a row. It's a pattern.
Right.
We're not just randomly scattered. Not only are they mentioned, but it's a pattern. Then the third Sumerian tablet I did was Enki and Nurhasaja. In Dilmun, the raven was not yet cawing, the partridge not cackling, the lion did not slay, the wolf was not carrying off lambs, the dog had not been taught to make kids curl up, the pig had not learned the grain was to be eaten. The raven is the constellation Corvus, which means raven and borders Virgo. The lion is Leo. Leo and Virgo, these are connecting signs, so there's a pattern right there. The wolf is the constellation Lupus, which borders Libra. Now you have Virgo, Leo, and Libra. These are 3 signs in a row. The lamb is Aries, which is the wolf's opposing sign. Aries and Libra are opposing signs. The dog is Canis Major, which is 11 stars in Cancer. So now you have Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra. That's 4 signs in a row. The pig is a constellation called Porcus, which is in the southern sky, which disappears April 1st. It was supposedly discovered by the Greeks in the 5th century BC, yet the Chinese literally have it as one of their 12 signs in the zodiac. If it's not longer than that, it's around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
So although Porcus was not mentioned in Ptolemy's list in 150 AD, you got to do the research and find out, this kind of stuff.
Right.
So now the Enuma Elish. So that's the Sumerians, right? And I could do 1,000 Sumerian tablets. So I have a website, Rex Bear from Lake Project, and me kind of go through it from time to time. But I'm going to do more Sumerian tablets. But now you have the Enuma Elish. This is Babylonian.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tiamat enlisted a horned snake, a Mishutsu dragon, a mad dog, and scorpion man, half fish, and half man, half bull. The horned snake is Ophiuchus. Now, Ophiuchus, I didn't mention, is the 13th zodiac sign. There's a big kind of thing in astrology or astrologers, whether they do something called Vedic or sidereal astrology that includes Ophiuchus, or whether they use the what's known as tropical astrology, which is the 12 signs. Ophiuchus sits between Sagittarius and Scorpio. Sagittarius is the man on the horse, and Ophiuchus is a man holding a box with a snake in it, and the snake's head is facing the horse. So in the Bible, when they tell you that the serpent will bite the horse's heel and the man will fall off and the rider will fall off, you just have to look at the stars. You can literally see the serpent biting the horse in Sagittarius, and the man falls off. This is just star poetry. Wow. The mad dog is the dog star Sirius, which is our binary star. The scorpion man is Scorpio and Aquarius mix. The half man, half fish is Aquarius Pisces border, which blends the fish and the man sign. What is a mermaid? A mermaid is Pisces the fish and Virgo the woman. Those are opposing signs. What is a merman? That's Aquarius the man and Pisces the fish. Those are connecting signs, always with patterns here, which blends the fish and the man sign. The half man, half bull, which is half Aquarius, half Taurus. Now the Code of Hammurabi.
So the main difference between sidereal and tropical, or just adding that 13th sign, like you're saying?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. Tropical astrology breaks it down into 12 signs of 30 days, whereas think about it like this, Andre. Like say we're going to a party together, right?
Right.
And I'm actually with you, and we're taking 2 separate cars, and we throw the GPS together, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
going to tell us two different directions, but we're going to end up at the same place.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it doesn't
So that's
really make a
basically what it is.
difference.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sidereal astrology or Vedic astrology is more Eastern, and that has to do more with the actual size of the constellations. For example, Scorpio is tiny.
Mm-hmm.
In Vedic sidereal astrology, Scorpio is only 6 days long, whereas Virgo is enormous and it's like a month and a half long.
Oh, geez.
But there's just different ways to do it. That's all.
Right. Right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That.
Now, the Code of Hammurabi, which I was just going to show you guys, is when you read your Bible and you read your story about, like, if you hit your slave and they die, you pay 30 and all that kind of stuff. Like the laws, where we got the laws from, right? Or the punishments, or just the codes that they live by. That all comes from the Code of Hammurabi, all of it.
Okay.
If a man has stolen ox or sheep or ass or pig or ship, whether from the temple or the palace, he shall pay 30-fold. The man sign is Aquarius. The ox is Taurus. The sheep is Aries. Aries and Taurus are connecting signs.
Mm.
The ass is the donkey, which is a Celis Borealis, which is located in Cancer. The pig is the constellation Porcus. The ship is a constellation called Argo that goes from Cancer to Scorpio. So there's 7 signs in this one passage. In this one sentence, there's 7 signs.
Wow.
The Egyptian Book of the Dead. O mighty of knives, lady of 2 lands, the one who smashes the enemies of the weary-hearted one, the one who does what is wise, the one free of wrong. The name of its gatekeeper is long-horned bull. What is to be said when arriving at the 5th portal? Words spoken by the Osiris Ani, the vindicated, O fiery one, mistress of heat, the joyful one, the one whom the entities of the bald-headed do not descend, the one who asks that something be given to her without the swift of glance entering into her. The name of its gatekeeper is one who spears the disaffected. So the lady is Virgo, the woman. The long-horned bull is Taurus, the bull. The spear represents Sagittarius, the man with the bow and the arrow, sometimes translated as a spear. The spear is very important, and the reason that you can connect Sagittarius with the spear is, remember, Sagittarius is where the sun dies on the last day. So the death takes place in Sagittarius. The spear is very important. The 2 most important deaths in the Bible have to do with a spear. Jesus was hit in the side with the spear of destiny to check to see if he was still alive. And Cain and Abel was the first murder. While the murder consisted of Cain hitting him over the head with a rock, then burying him, am I my brother's keeper, that whole nonsense.
Right.
The name Cain in Hebrew actually translates to spear. So the spear is an incredibly powerful metaphor in these ancient texts. Chapter for becoming Ptah, eating bread, drinking beer, purifying the hinder parts, and being alive in Heliopolis. What will you live on, say the gods and spirits to me? I will live and have power through bread. Where will you eat it, say the gods and spirits to me? I will have power, and I will eat it under the branches of the tree of Hathor, my mistress, who made offerings of bread, beer, and corn. Remember, I mentioned all of those as being part of Virgo. In Heliopolis, those who are in Heliopolis bow their heads to me, for I am their Lord, I am their bull. The bread, beer, and corn is all Virgo when you harvest. The bull is Taurus. Heliopolis is the city of light in Egypt. It was called On. That's why when you go today into a bedroom, you have to turn the lights on to get light or enlightenment. Everything from the law, from these ancient texts, everything is spiritual. Everything.
100%.
The emerald tablets of Thoth. That's Egyptian too. For he is a Menti to the Son of Man. Notice here he said Son of Man, which is how it's supposed to be accurate.
S-U-N, not S-O-N.
Right. And people will say, the sun and the sun, there's no way to connect them. They're homophones. They don't need to. One is telling the story of the other.
Right.
Right.
And even when you put the O there, I mean, the O is literally a sun. You know, it's a, to me, it represents the sun, you know, when you see it.
Jordan Maxwell did a fantastic job on this. He had like 500 pictures of showing the Son of God versus the Son of God as labeled in churches, like as on billboards.
Right.
They interchange them. Right. So deep neath the rocks, I buried my spaceship, waiting in time for a man, when man might be free. Over the spaceship erected a marker in the form of a lion, yet like unto man. Thereneath the image rests yet my spaceship, forth to be brought when need shall arise. There is an interdimensional spaceship. It's 3 atoms thick in our dimension. It is buried in one of the chambers under the Sphinx. Now check this out. What is the Sphinx? The lion, which is Leo, and the man, which is Aquarius. These are opposing signs on the zodiac.
Mm.
The book of Enoch. So now we're getting into the Gnostic texts. Chapter 8.2. Samjaza taught enchantments. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Orakiel taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Sariel, the course of the moon. Is there any wonder why they removed this from the Bible during the Council of Nicaea? Because they're openly talking about this shit.
Wow.
Right?
I hadn't picked up on that yet. That's crazy.
And in those days shall the mountains leap like rams, that's Aries, and the hills shall also skip like lambs, that's Aries, satisfied with the milk. The Milky Way galaxy, that's Sagittarius. The Gospel of Q. Give us our daily bread today. Which of you would give your child a stone if they ask for bread? Or would you give them a snake if they ask for fish? The bread is Virgo. The snake is Ophiuchus. And the fish is Pisces. Pisces and Virgo are opposing signs. Everyone who divorced his wife and remarries is unfaithful to her. And whoever marries someone who's divorced is unfaithful too. Which of you, if you had 100 sheep and lost one of them, wouldn't leave the 99 in the hills and go after the one that got lost? Divorce, marriage, court, law, that's all Libra. The sheep is Aries. Those are opposing signs. The secret gospel of John. Sophia saw what her desire produced. It changed in the form of a dragon with a lion's head. Dragon is the sign Draco. It goes from Aries to Sagittarius. The lion's head is Leo the lion. Aquarius and Leo are opposing signs. And I'm not going to actually touch the physical Bible because that's in the other interview that we did together that you're going to share with everyone. But just to throw this out to you guys, when they talk about the dragon and the woman in the sky, right? When they talk about the dragon and the woman in the sky, they say the dragon, his tail will sweep a third of the stars from heaven to earth. Well, the dragon's tail is literally a third of the stars in the sky.
Wow.
From Aries to Sagittarius. That's in Revelation. That's Revelation 12. The Gospel of Thomas. Happy is the lion that a man will eat. The lion will become a man. Cursed is the man whom the lion eats, for that lion will become a man. They're talking about ingesting an animal and their components will become part of you or you're a part of them. However, in astrology, the lion is the sign Leo. The sign of the man is Aquarius. They are opposing signs of the zodiac. Man is like a skilled angler who casts his net and draws it up, full of fish. We're talking about the man, Aquarius, and the sign of the fish, Pisces. Those are connecting signs.
Wow.
The Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Mary questioned her master. At the end of an eon, will all matter be destroyed? Each zodiac sign is considered a house. So the house of Aquarius, the house of Pisces, each sign is also called an eon. Luke 22:10. He replied, this is the Bible, by the way. As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters. The disciples are asking him where to meet him for his next Passover, and he says that to them. Now, here's the thing. Who is the man carrying the water pitcher?
Aquarius.
Exactly. But here's something even more interesting. Back in the day, okay, and you can still see this in African countries too. Mm-hmm. Men never carried water. It's a feminine job. It was always a feminine job. And whether you like to hear it or not in America, guys, there were gendered roles. And this was gendered. So the fact that he's talking about a man carrying a jar of water tells you that it's Aquarius, because a man would never be caught dead carrying that. The Gospel of Philip. When he came to his disciples in splendid glory on the Mount of Olives, he wasn't small. He became great and made his disciples great so that they could see him in greatness. On that day, he said in gratitude, you who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite us with the angels as well. Don't scorn the Lamb. Without him, it's impossible to know the King. No one may visit the King without robes of light. So the olives are Libra, as I've mentioned, and the lamb is Aries. These are opposing signs. The Good Samaritan gave wine and oil to the weak man. Wine and oil comes from Libra.
Mm.
The Gospel of Judas. A nearby lake of still waters quenched our thirst. The place reminded us of David's famed shepherd psalm, our souls are restored. The lake of still waters is Pisces, the water. The shepherd is in Aries. Again, these are connecting signs.
Wow.
There's just patterns everywhere. This is what they're doing.
So when you say connecting signs, you're saying you mean opposing signs or signs right by each
Okay,
other?
so I'm at 65 right now. Let's go back to the wheel. Okay, you see Cancer at the top,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The connecting signs for Cancer would be Gemini and Leo. They're next to them.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Just making sure. I
Those are
just wanted to
connecting
clear that
signs.
up. Okay,
From Cancer to Capricorn, those are opposing signs.
gotcha.
And you'll notice that these are always making these exact same patterns. We're
Right.
not talking about the twins and then the wine. You know, it's never that, because Gemini and Libra don't connect.
Right.
These are always making connection patterns.
Mm.
And I'm showing you this through thousands of years of ancient history. Here's the Book of Jubilees.
Because I heard it said recently, like your opposing sign is like your shadow side. You know, if you're looking at purely
that goes into astrology for sure. That has to do with I'm not an astrologer. I'm an astrotheologist. There's a difference, but we're cousins. Our sciences are cousins. I have an astrologer, but yes, it does. In astrology, you have your sun sign, which is the sign that you're born into. You have your moon sign, and you have your rising sign.
Right.
Your personality, who you are, is more your rising sign than your sun sign. Your sun sign is your archetype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
And on the second day, he created the firmament in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went above, and half of them went below the firmament. I've mentioned this before, but the firmament is not a dome over a flat earth. People get that so confused.
Right.
The firmament are the dividing lines between the signs. Do you see the dividing lines between these signs that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what those are?
Tell me. Yeah,
They're not like, you look up into the sky, you're not going to see these dividing lines.
right.
They represent something. What it is it's the last 3 days of a sign and the first 3 days of the next sign. Have you heard of the phrase cusp or handover days?
Yep.
That's what it represents. Yep. It's when the energies merge and they blend.
Right.
So watch this. And on the second day, he created the firmament in the midst of the waters. And the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went above and half of them went down below the firmament. So look at the two signs I have here, Aquarius and Pisces. Notice how the firmament divides the water from above from the water below, the two water signs.
Right.
This is literally talking about Aquarius and Pisces being created.
Wow.
The Gospel of Emmanuel, discovered by Billy Meyer. Brood of vipers, in 2 times 1,000 years, you and your descendants who carry on false teaching out of your own pride from motives of power and greed shall be punished and your lives destroyed. So it will be when the human race begins to comprehend and separate the wheat from the chaff. The wheat is Virgo. That is when you separate the wheat from the chaff. The false teachings are the literal teachings they make. But as Emmanuel predicted, in 2 times 1,000 years, that's 2,000 years, the truth will come to light. Talking about the new age of Aquarius and all this truth coming to light.
Right.
But the age of Pisces was the dark age. It was the age of belief, whereas now we're in the age of knowing. Nevertheless, do not heed these false teachings, because millennia will pass before the people of these human races will be able to recognize the truth. Hence, following the fulfillment of your mission, centuries and 2 millennia will pass before the truth of your knowledge brought among the people will be recognized and disseminated by some humans. It's the same thing. The earth can nourish and support 500 million people of all the human race. But if these laws are not followed, in 2,000 years, 10 times 500 million will exist, and the earth will not be able to support them anymore. Where have we heard the 500 million before? The gospel was discovered in 1963, maybe something that was created in 1980. Think about this for a second.
Georgia Guidestones.
Exactly. 2,000 years ago, when this
I got to see them. before they got
Before they
destroyed.
blew up. Yeah,
Yeah.
2,000 years ago, 500 million people. But if in 2,000 years it's not checked, 10 times 500 million people, 2,000 years later, that's 5 billion people. Okay?
Wow.
500 million, the first on the stones. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with the nature. Remember, this gospel was discovered in 1963. The guidestones were put up in 1980.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that was
Since the
definitely a
human,
blueprint for the Guidestones.
yep, since the human races will at this time comprise far more than 10 times 500 million people, great parts of them will be eradicated or killed.
Wow.
Truly I say to you, from now on I will no longer drink of the fruit of the vineyard, nor eat of the bread until I drink and eat again with you after my affliction. The grapes are Libra, and the bread is Virgo. Again, these are connecting signs.
Wow.
The Quran, dude, the Quran.
All
Those
of
who
them.
do not those who do not know say, why has not the Lord turned to the word to us, and why will he not show us a sign from heaven? Similar words were spoken by those who came before them, their hearts alike. We interpret the signs for those who are committed to the faith.
Wow.
The signs in the heavens.
Right there.
And how beautiful. All people see the love of earthly passions. Here are women and sons. There are mountains of silver and gold, and marked horses and herds of cattle and a plowed field. The women are Virgo, the signs of the woman. The sons are the boys in Gemini. Horses are Sagittarius. Cattle is Taurus. A plowed field is Taurus as well. Taurus and Gemini are connecting signs. Gemini and Sagittarius are opposing signs. This is the Quran, dude.
That's crazy. It's so obvious.
Verily in the verily in the creation of earth and sky, and in the change of night to day, here are the hidden signs for those who have intelligence.
Wow.
And among them are those who will only pretendingly listen to you. We put a cover on their hearts, so that they will not understand us. And we
Mm.
covered their ears with deafness. And even if they see all the signs, they will not believe them. Do you know how many people are
Oh my
misinterpreting this?
God. Yes, dude.
He is the one who brings down water from you from the sky, and with it we give plants of all kind to grow. And with it we grow shoots of cereals, from them we grow grains, sitting in an ear of dents side by side. From the date palm, its ovaries, bunches of fruits hanging low, gardens of vines, olives, pomegranates, which in many ways are so similar yet so different from each other. When fruit appeared on them, rejoice in how they are poured and ripen. Truly, in this are the hidden signs for those who believe in God. So the grains are planted in Taurus, then April showers bring May flowers, the water from the sky. The grains grow. You reap in Virgo. Gardens of vines and olives. Well, the grapes and the olives are Libra. Virgo and Libra are connecting signs. These are the hidden signs.
Wow.
And whoever wants to own a beautiful garden of date palms and vines, which is washed by abundant streams, wherefore his pleasure all kinds of fruit, while old age befalls him. And the children are weak, so that a fiery whirlwind falls on the garden and swallows it all to ashes. So the Lord explains his signs to you so that you can understand. The
Oh my
vines are
God.
vineyards in Libra, the streams are the streams in the water sign of Pisces and Aquarius. God explains these 12 signs to you so you can understand this. Dude, I
Mm.
just did like 7 passages from the Quran. Isn't this?
That's crazy,
We'll talk
man.
about this after. We'll talk about this after. The
Yeah.
Book of Mormon, dude. The Book of Mormon. Nevertheless, I went forth, and as I came near unto the house of Laban, I beheld a man, and he had fallen to earth before me, for he was drunken with wine. Yeah, and I also thought that they could not keep the commandments of the Lord according to the law of Moses, save they should have the law. Both wine and lawly things take place in Libra.
Hmm.
After the house of Israel should be scattered, they should be gathered together again. Or, in fine, after the Gentiles have received the fullness of the gospel, the natural branches of the olive tree, or the remnants of the house of Israel should be grafted in, or come to the knowledge of the true Messiah, their Lord and their Redeemer. Therefore, remember, O man, for all thy doings, thou shalt be brought into judgment. The olives take place in Libra, the judgment takes place in Libra. And my father said he should baptize in Bethabara, beyond Jordan. And he also said he should baptize with water. Even that he should baptize the Messiah with water. And after he had baptized the Messiah with water, he should behold and bear record that he had baptized the Lamb of God, who should take away the sins of the world. Baptism is literally Aquarius, the man pouring out the water pitcher. The Lamb of God would be Aries. I mean, there's names for Jesus, right? Let's go through them real quick. In Aquarius, the sign of the man, he's called the Son of Man. In Pisces, the sign of the two fish, he's known as the fisherman of men. It's why he feeds the masses with two fish. In Aries, the lamb, the ram, he's known as the good shepherd or the Lamb of God. In Cancer, that's the crab, that's the scarab. You know, Christians like to quote St. Augustine to me all the time. They don't realize that St. Augustine said Jesus was the good beetle. He's the Lion of Judah in Leo. What about Virgo? He's born of a virgin and he's the bread of life. What about Libra? He is the just one, right?
Right.
Then he's betrayed in Scorpio. He dies in Sagittarius, and then he's born again in Capricorn. These are all names they give him in church, and nobody knows any different.
Right.
And I looked and beheld the Lamb of God, that he was taken by the people. Yea, the Son of the everlasting God was judged of the world, and I saw and bear record. The Lamb of God is Aries. The Son of God, or the Son of Man, is Aquarius. Judging takes place in Libra. Libra and Aries are opposing signs.
Wow.
Dude, so I've actually intertwined all of this into a book series. This is my Into the Rabbit Hole series. You can get it on Amazon. It's a fun way to understand this. It's kind of teaching it to newbies through like Dan Brown type stories. And it's Into the Rabbit Hole. But I just want to.
Oh. Again, I paused it. We're back. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, we're back. We're recording.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good.
I just took you through 6,000 years of all the holy texts that they've ever put out there, that people have ever pondered over and tried to figure out and tried to understand for 6,000 years. And they're all encoded the exact same way. They're all telling the same exact story.
Crack the code, brother. I can't say enough about the work you're doing, man, and you know how great of work it is to put this out there and make it known and to set people free that are still stuck in these paradigms, man, because it's truly keeping people as slaves, and only they themselves can set themselves free by, you know, releasing the veils of ignorance and just being open, you know, having an open mind to it.
To this day, I've decoded, including the Bible, 63 holy texts.
That's incredible, brother. Truly incredible. Yeah, dude, like I recently picked up the Aquarian Gospel, which was
I
kind of
just did too. That's funny.
yeah, it was calling out to me for a while, and you know, books just come to you at the right time, but man, it really connected a lot of dots for me, is like filling in the blanks of that story, just looking at it from different levels. But yeah, I've been reading a lot of Manly P. Hall as well, and just connecting a lot of dots with all your work. And yeah, man, it's truly incredible what you've come across and how you've connected all this together. And I know you're standing on the shoulders of giants like Bill Donahue and Jordan Maxwell and Santos, but man, like where would we be without you, Micah?
And I would suggest everybody see the first part. You're going to put the link up, and guys,
Yeah.
The first part, I go through the Bible. We do the actual Bible. If you notice, what I did is I did the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, and then I went into the Gnostic texts, all the texts that were removed from the Bible. Shit, man, I'm doing the Ethiopian Bible now.
Right. I guess my question for you, brother, is like, upon knowing this and like coming to these realizations, like how do you use it? Like would you say you're just looking at it purely from a frame of like this is just the story of the son going through the years and
You got to
ages.
understand, Andre. These are deeply, deeply. We're talking like triple, quadruple entendre metaphors.
Right.
These are celestial metaphors. This is star poetry. This is the creation of what God has done. The
Right.
sun tells the hour of the day, the moon tells the day of the month, and the zodiac tells the month of the year. It's a perfect calendar. That's God creating that for us, where we are in the middle of nowhere in the Milky Way galaxy.
Totally.
That's proof of God.
Right.
And this is just poetry. How do you make love? How do you seduce a woman? You read her poetry, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
celestial poetry. This is how you show your love, show
Mm,
your affection. These are celestial metaphorical stories that people are killing each other over and taking literally.
it's insanity, dude. Like, do you subscribe to like because I've heard it put like there's like 7 layers of interpretations of
Oh yeah, there's 11.
11. Holy shit. Do you
There's
know
11,
what
yeah.
each of those are of those 11 or some of them at least?
Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. I have them written down.
Yes, I would love to put this into this episode.
Basically, the Bible is more than you'll ever know in your life.
Right, exactly. It's like shit that's hard to put into words. Like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Let me just find this real quick because I have it. Here we go. Okay. Metaphysics, astrological. What I teach is one slice of one science out of 11 sciences in the Bible.
Right.
Metaphysics, astrological, anatomical, alchemical, spiritual, esoteric, mythology, gematria, etymology, numerology, and psychedelic. Those are the 11. 11 is a master number, by the way. You can't reduce 11. It's a holy number.
Right. So that was metaphysics, astrological, anatomical, alchemical, spiritual, gematria. There might have been a few I missed.
Mythology,
Mythology. Yeah, I just wanted to write these down.
psychedelic, numerology, etymology, spiritual.
Okay. So I got metaphysics, astrological, anatomical, alchemical, spiritual, gematria, mythological, psychedelic, numerological, and etymological. I think that's all of them. Yeah, I have definitely been interpreting at least the Bible in a number of these for a while now. Thank you for giving me and all those listening out there more of a roadmap to interpret these books that really can, I think, help us connect to God. Whatever book we pick up, I think any one of them have that potential with the right lens and frame of
Right.
mind.
And if you guys like what I did with the astrology, you should see what I do with our hidden history and astrology, which is in my book series,
Dude,
Into
it's
the Rabbit
incredible.
Hole.
Yeah, it's incredible. I need to get back to them. I read the first one. I need to get back. I just have so many damn books, dude. Like, it's hard to keep
I know.
up. I love it though. Keep up the good work, man. Like, I can't say enough about your work and highly recommend anyone out there to, go check out your channel, buy your
Well,
book
if you guys
series.
want to see all my work, if you guys want to see all my work, all my social media, all of it, my YouTube channel, and all the decodings that I've done up to date is on my website called debunkmywork.com. If you want to put that up there.
I love that. I love the title. Debunk my work. Has anyone tried? Have you
No, it's
had
been four
any
years.
debates?
It's been four
Wow.
years.
Dude, it was almost like you were destined for this, brother, and I feel it. I feel that. I really do.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's a special time to be alive. And before we recorded, because I originally thought we were going to do your God presentation. We'll do that another time if you're interested. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was listening to you talk to Brandon about it, and yeah, just how you mentioned, why we're even here right now in this time period, and like remembering our purpose for being here. It's so important, man, and
Yeah.
can't be underestimated. So
This frees you.
yeah.
This frees you. In the original presentation, guys, when you go to the website, it's the second video. My first video that I have on my website is basically me saying that the truth tellers and the people that expose things are the ones that catch the heat. It's never the people that enslaved you. It's always the ones that expose it. People don't
Right.
like to be lied to. And then my second video is my intro to astrotheology. That's what I did with you. In it, I demystify Baphomet, Satan, hell, Lucifer, all of that.
All the nonsense. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. And another thing I want to say too is like how you really crystallized a lot for me on my path. When I first heard you, I think it was on Tinfoil Hat many years back. And I had heard Santos Bonacci's astrotheology lectures and things, and Jordan Maxwell's notes, and discovered Bill Donahue years later, I think after I heard you. But yeah, I mean, I think you just put it in a way that's very easy to understand, especially for beginners that are just getting their feet with
yeah.
astrology and have a base level
I don't
understanding
look.
of
I
it.
know I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. Me and Jordan were friends. God rest his soul. Me and
Yeah,
Santos are
rest in
friends.
peace.
Bill Donahue co-signed my work. I know David Matheson too. I know all of them. All of them. I know them. They all are a fan. And
Forget about
I'm not
Matheson. I've
saying that
had
I'm the
him on.
best
Yeah.
astrotheologist out there. I refuse to say that because I'm not. I will say that I think I might be the easiest to understand.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that completely based on my experience, and yeah, all the guys you just mentioned. And I love all those guys. I've had David and Santos on, and unfortunately didn't get to have Jordan on before he passed, but have so much respect for that guy. Um, yeah, great men. And Bill Donahue's in a league of his own as well. Like
Yeah,
I could watch his lectures for the rest of the year if I wanted to.
right.
So much to pull from his. Yeah, I don't even know if he's doing any work anymore.
He's getting
I,
kind of old.
yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, so many lectures to go through of his. If listeners out there aren't familiar, go check out Bill Donahue. You can find his work on YouTube. So much good stuff out there. But yeah, thanks so much, Micah. It's been a blast, man, and always good to
Thanks,
have
man.
you,
Put up
brother.
my website, guys. You can also order the books from my website if you want. They're fun. I make them easy. I red pill in fiction because that's what you have to do to tell the truth these days. That's why I
Totally,
chose to do that. And I actually went to school for writing. I'm a pretty good writer myself. And
totally.
yeah, these are fun books, man. It's like 1984 meets Da Vinci Code.
You ever totally? I would agree with that. Do you ever plan to do a children's series or some
I
children's
already
stuff?
have a kid's book. It's on my website.
Okay, perfect. I thought you did, but I was just making
It's
sure.
called A is for Aries. I did it with my astrologer, Priscilla.
Nice. I'm gonna have to get that for my niece.
It's for 6 to 11-year-olds, but the kids will love the pictures even if they're younger.
Totally. Well, thanks so much, brother. Always a blast, and yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Sure, man. Let me know when this is up.
Totally, brother. Have a good night. Thanks for
You too.
listening,
Take
y'all.
care, man.
Peace.